Hello, Tashidalai. Welcome to season 4 of the Dharma sharing. The Words of Wisdom by Gamboba from his book called The June Ornament of Liberation. So, before we start, obviously, we need to generate bodhicitta. Also, we need to take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So, please join hands together with me and we recite the refuge prayers followed by the generations of bodhicitta. Sangye Jodang Zoge Jonam La Jangju Bardo Dane Gapson Che Dagi Jiso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benjir Sangye Dubarasho Sangye Jodang Zoge Jonam La Jangju Bardo Dane Gapson Che Dagi Jiso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benjir Sangye Dubarasho Sangye Jodang Zoge Jonam La Jangju Bardo Dane Gapson Che Dagi Jiso Gebe Sonam Ge Dola Benje Sangen Do Barai Sho Senjen Tamjen Dewan Dan Deven Gyudan Dembara Gyuje Dongan Dan Dongan Ge Gyudan Dawa Gyuje Dongan Bebe Dewan Damba Dan Mindawa Gyuje Giren Jadan Gidan Anyum Jembola Nebara Gyuje Senjen Tamjen Dewan Dan Deven Gyudan Dembara Gyuje Dongan Dan Dongan Ge Gyudan Dawa Gyuje Dongan Bebe Dewan Damba Dan Mindawa Gyuje Niren Jadan Gidan Daven Danyan Jimbola Nebran Gyroje, Zemjen Damjen Dewa Dan Deven Gyudan Dembran Gyuje, Dungan Dan Dungan Ye Gyudan Dawa Gyuje. Dungan Meben Dewan Damba Dan Midawa Gyuje, Niren Jadan Gidan Daven Danyan Jimbola Nebran Gyroje. Balden Zave Lama Rimboje, Dagi Juro Pemen Denshola, Kadin Jimbe Gonen Jesong. Kuzondo Gengo Zanto. Wana Namga Danyan Besam Yen Damja, Lana Mebayan Daba Zobe Janju, Gego Wanga, Jinin Yango Barja. The age of Samba Janju, Jodo, Semgene, Dambechu, Sushin, Yamso, Lembarja, or Yamde, Semborajo, Deanga Sembarja, which any Kabdel, Yami Kaboba Zebe, Tabo Targe in Las. So the Dharma that we are trying to understand is the June Ornament of Liberation by Kambopa. And we should generate bodhicitta. We should examine our motivation every time before we practice, before we study the Dharma. So it is always advisable that you should examine your motivation, because it's not always, our motivation is not always pure, because of being as ordinary being overpowered by negative afflictions and emotions. Obviously, we need to examine our motivation again and again. So therefore, when you see there's a shortcomings, or there's the self-centered attitude engaged, or where there's a competition kind of attitude is involved, or where there's a kind of pride attitude is involved, then we should purify this, and then we should always refresh ourselves, and we should always get ready for ourselves, and always generate bodhicitta, always thinking that whatever I'm studying, practicing, teaching, meditating, these are all for the benefit of other sentient beings, because my objective is to benefit sentient beings. And in order to fulfill that objective, I need to attain some qualities. I need to have some education. I need to have some realization. Otherwise, without having this kind of qualities, these realizations, these tools, then you are not able to benefit sentient beings, even though you wish to. Then you will always remain in the aspiration bodhicitta, and you will never be able to fulfill the second type of bodhicitta, that is known as the engaged bodhicitta. So really engaging and making your body, speech, and mind implementing your body, speech, and mind for the benefit of others. That's the most important part here. So in order to do so, we need to train ourselves in our bodies. So we need to purify if we have any kind of shortcomings or any kind of self-centered attitude are involved, at any kind of negative afflictions and emotions are involved. So we want to make sure that the Dharma that we are receiving, we are going to receive, the vessel that you are going to put the Dharma in should be very pure, clean, and free from stains. So likewise, our body our speech, our mind should always be pure, before we receive any teachings or any practices. So therefore, this is how we can purify our motivations and make our motivation right, matching with the teachings of the Buddha, matching with accordance with the aspirations and engaged bodhicitta. So therefore, every time while you receive teachings from gurus, your teachers, they always ask you to generate bodhicitta. They always ask you to check or examine your motivation, and they always encourage us to, refresh ourselves, encourage us to, purify our motivations if any kind of self-centered attitude is involved. So therefore, they also say that you should always think that whatever practice you are doing, whatever teaching you are listening, is for the benefit of others. I am receiving these teachings so that I'll be able to, attend some kind of paths and bhumis, and slowly, subsequently, I'll be able to benefit more beings. I'll be able to show more sentient beings the truth of path that leads them to the perfections of Buddhahood. So this is how our motivation should be. So having said that, we are now trying to understand, the bodhicitta, aspirations and engaged bodhicitta, and particularly we are focusing on the engaged bodhicitta. And engaged bodhicitta, there are different type of trainings that one should be trained. We should train these 6 different type of trainings, particularly here the 6 paramitas. So among the 6 paramitas, we have studied the first 4, and now we are focusing on the 5th paramita, that is known as the paramita of meditative concentration, or perfections of meditative concentration, which again we should remember, we should recall all the time that this paramita is very important, because this is the base paramita where you can actualize the wisdom paramita, the 6th paramita. And all the other previous paramitas from 1 to 4, these are all to support your 5th and 6th paramita, and especially to attain the 6th paramita, the realizations of primordial wisdom. In order to do so, we need to train in earlier paramitas. Accumulating merits, obviously, we need to train in generosity, and also to abstain your body, speech, and mind from involving in non-virtuous act. You should be careful. You should protect your body, speech, and mind from involving in non-virtuous act, which involves in hurting others, which involves in the insulting others. So how we can stop this, how we can refrain from this, is to by following the 2nd parameter, which is making yourself a commitment that, I will not kill from my body, I will not steal from my body, or I will not engage in sexual misconduct from this body. Likewise, I will not tell lie from this speech. From my speech, I will not use any kind of harsh words that will, really truly hurt others' feelings, emotions. I will not use any kind of divisive speech, so that I will not destroy some others' good companion, good atmosphere, good friendship, and so on and so forth. Likewise, from mind also, I will not generate hatred, jealousy, pride, and so forth. So these are, how you can, train yourself, how you can train your body, space, and mind. Actually, how you can protect your body, space, and mind from falling into lower realms. Because the non-virtuous act of killing, stealing, telling lie, pride, jealousy, these are the cause for your, experience of suffering in lower realms. So in order to protect yourself from falling into lower realms, what we can do is we can stop the cause. It's quite simple, actually. And how you can stop this cause is by restraining your body, speech, and mind from non-virtuous act. So that's why the 2nd parameter was important. Like whether it is to involve with the 1st parameter of generosity, practicing generosity, giving others, doing charity works, and so forth, working for the benefit of others, or just to protecting your body, speech, and mind, following your commitments and giving your vinaya, or giving your vows. Always, it's not easy, and you need to associate with different people when you practice charity works. So there are always obstacles. There's always a hardship you will face lots of challenges because people have different perspectives, people have different opinions, people have different point of views, and it's not always necessary or that they will also follow on your path, they will also believe in your point of view. There will be lots of challenges, there are lots of difficulties sometimes, and sometimes even if you really want to help them from your true mind, true heart, but then people will take that as an advantage, or they will understand this. So therefore you always need a patience there. Try to understand the situation from the different perspective, different angle. Not only always pointing out the faults of others, but then also you try to see from the different angle. Oh, maybe he's angry with my attitude, even though I try to help him. He's angry, still angry with me. He's not happy with me. Maybe there's another reason why he is angry with me. Maybe I'm not doing perfectly, or maybe this is not the right time, or maybe he is overruled by his negative afflictions and emotions. So there are lots of possibilities one can look from the different angle. So if you're trying to understand, if you open up, if you be more, kind of uh, have more flexibility in you, then you are not always disturbed by others' attitude. You are not always, what you call, lose your patience. You can always have some kind of second options, second thoughts. Try to look from the positive side as much as possible. So this is how we can train in our patience, practice of patience. Likewise, practice of either just the first parameter, second parameter, or third parameter, you always need is the continuity. Not like you're excited today about practicing the generosity, or excited today by giving the Sojong vows and so forth, and the next day you forget everything and you still you become the same person, like the same layman who always try to involve in non-virtuous act, who always try to run after greed, craving, grasping things, who always run after anger, hatred, jealousy, challenges, all these things. You will become same person like before. If you do not have the fourth parameter, that is the diligence parameter of diligence. You always need to have that continuity, not excitement for one time, then losing everything the other day. So you always need to have this continuation, and how you can keep this continuation is, mm, by knowing what you are doing is right, by knowing with good reason that what you are involving now with generosity or practicing the paramita, second paramita or thought, it is always worthy. It is the great teachings by the Buddha. It is the great source of happiness. It is the great source for bringing all sentient beings into perfect and complete enlightenment. It is the great source to liberating yourself from the suffering of samsara. So if you know this, if you have this kind of interest and joyfulness in the practice of Dharma, then diligence is easy. It comes naturally. You don't have to do anything. It says effort, but you don't need to put any effort. It comes naturally once you know what you're doing is right. Once you have the interest, great interest in what you are doing, then it will it will be it will like normal. Automatically you'll be able to continue these teachings, these practices. So these are why it is important to have these previous parameters. Then the fifth parameter, our subject of this season, is the meditative concentration. And we also should know that this is the base parameter in order to actualize the primordial wisdom. We can free ourselves from the suffering of samsara. We can free ourselves from the misunderstanding of the true nature of our mind, misunderstanding the true nature of phenomena, misunderstanding the true nature of appearances. We are always misunderstood. What appears in front of us are real. There's misunderstanding. In actual, Buddha's teaching says it's not real. This is temporarily. This is a matter of change, suffering of change. It doesn't exist as it appears. It doesn't have any kind of its own potential entity that really exists. It is made up of so many other things. So therefore, it has to depend on so many other components. It cannot exist by itself at all. So this, it breaks down all your thoughts of before, previous thought of thinking everything is some kind of solid, existing thing, self entity. So it will break up. So these are all misunderstanding, not knowing the true nature of phenomena. Likewise, looking samsara, pleasure of samsara as something good, something joyful, something nice, is also a misunderstanding of the fact. Because even though you feel like this is pleasure, that's very temporary pleasure. It always has the end. It always has expiry date. So therefore, because of not knowing this fact and have misinformation or misunderstanding of this actual reality, then we, hold this. We have so much of craving towards this phenomena, and once you have craving, the more you crave, then grasping on these things, like we studied last session, and then the more you grasp it, then your body, speech, and mind will generate, formate karma. Creations of karma starts from there. So this is how you start another cause for another experience of suffering of samsara. So therefore, we should understand this reality. And how can we really understand this? By through sitting and meditating. This is the best way to understand the true nature of things. You may have heard so much, about impermanence, about suffering, about emptiness, so many times, but you have not sit down and look for it and try to think about it. So therefore, you always forget. You may chant Prajna Paramita, no ear, no eyes, and so forth, but you have not actualized its meaning. You have not paid attention. You did not, contemplate on its meaning. You did not sit down and try to focus on these teachings, whether it really makes sense to you. We have never done reality checking. We always need to do reality checking. That's what Buddha told us to do. He said, just don't follow my words. You have to examine my teachings. And how can we examine his teachings? Is by sitting down and contemplate and meditate and and think. Either through an analytical meditation, by finding reasoning why he said, why things are impermanent, why things are suffering, why things are emptiness, or just placing your mind and focusing, looking at the nature of your mind and just being there, So there are many ways how you can really examine Buddha's teaching. In order to examine Buddha's teaching, we don't need to go outside to test. We don't need laboratory. We don't need like the way the scientists do. Because his teaching is not external, his teachings are internal. So since all his teachings, Buddha's teachings are internal, all are remedy to our negative afflictions, emotions, antidotes towards our negative emotions, then what we need to do is we need to sit down, close your eyes. This eyes has no use in meditation because we are not focusing on the external objects. So we are internal, looking inside. So you just rest peacefully and close your eyes and to contemplate on Buddha's teaching about impermanence, about suffering nature, about emptiness nature. Then slowly, once you are used to this meditation, the deeper your meditation goes, the more knowledge, the more, these qualities will naturally uh, develop within you, like clairvoyance, different types of meditation observations that we talk about, in the previous chapters, different types of, meditations, meditative state of minds. So this is how you can develop slowly, and subsequently we'll be able to see the true nature of our mind. We'll be able to see the promotive wisdom, realize the promotive wisdom. And this realization is not through your eyes, not seeing through your eyes or ear. It's just through your mind, actually. That is very important. Okay, having said that, now, so to present this part, the Perfection of Meditative Concentration, we have 7 sub-topics: reflections and on pearls and brochures, that's one. Definition is second, classification is third, characteristic of each of classification is fourth, increase fifth, perfection sixth, and result seven. So these are the 7 points in order to present this particular chapter. And among this, we are now still under the second topic, definition. What is actually meditative concentration? In general term, what is meditation? It is, and should understand, like, bringing your mind into one place, because we are always scattered. Definitions of meditative concentration is that the nature of able to calm abiding state of mind, or focusing one pointedly on virtues. And when you are not meditating, you are always distracted. You are physically distracted and you are mentally distracted as well. Mentally, most of the time mentally distracted because of having so many thoughts of the past and future. So you are not really living in present. Even though your body is there, but you are not there. You are either in the past or in the future, and you never lived in present. So that's very, unfortunate. So we're trying to live in present in meditation. This is where you are living now. Your body and your mind together, living at present, is through meditation. So understanding, this nature of meditation, then what we need to know is what is the opposite of meditation. Obviously, distraction. So we need to free ourselves from distraction. So what are the distractions? Body distractions and mind distractions. So we need to free ourselves from the physical agitations as well as mental agitations of discursive thoughts. So first one we already studied, and second one, how we can free ourselves from mental distractions. So this is how you bring, try to forget all other thoughts. There may be, hundreds and thousands of thoughts coming in you in 24 hours. But then, for now, living in present, meditating, and forgetting all other thoughts, but trying to placing your mind on one particular object. Breathing exercise, or visualizing yourself as a hidden deity, or just placing a statue of Buddha in front of you and not just forgetting that statue of Buddha. So there are many different types of techniques. But here, what we're now trying to do is trying to sit down, close your eyes, and try to do the analytical meditations. As Buddha said, that if you are someone who has the attachment as the strongest negative afflictions, then you should apply remedy accordingly. The remedy for that is to contemplating on the ugliness, or in other words, contemplating on the object of your attachment. Trying to investigate the object of your attachment, and just not by fooling yourself by the covering of the external one, but going beyond that and trying to investigate and contemplate the real fact of having impure components in that particular body. So that is one kind of meditation. And second one is, if you are someone who has a great hatred, who is always disturbed, who is not happy all the time, then for those people, what you need to do is you need to contemplate and meditate on loving kindness and compassion, starting from yourself. Because these people who are always angry, who are always disturbed, who are always not happy, who are always annoyed, easily annoyed, because they don't believe in themselves. They have lost their confidence. So they are always frightened and afraid. And therefore, in order to gain, self-confidence in them, we need to meditate on the loving kindness and compassion. We need to, feel ourselves how fortunate we are that we have this body. We have this, physical body that we can do anything through your eyes. You can see beautiful things. You can hear through your ears, smell through your nose, and all these activities that you can do from this body. Likewise, how fortunate you are, compared with other beings in the 6 different ways. How fortunate you are, and also try to focus on Buddha's teachings about, the precious human body, how precious it is, that you can express things, that you can do things, that you can, even breathe. How fortunate it is that you are still breathing, because thousands of people are dying every day. So you are still alive. That also is a very real fact, that how fortunate you should feel yourself. And the environment around us, we should be thankful, because we always forget things, small things we forget. We take them as a granted. Actually, it is not. It is the hardship of so many people. There's lots of contribution, you know, to make these things beautiful around you, to make these things perfect for you. The food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, the house that we are in, the transportation that we use. These are, he said, so many people has contributed, you know, their time, money, ideals, and so forth. So therefore, that is why, from Buddhist terminology, is called interdependence. We are all connected. So therefore, you feel how fortunate to have these surrounding things for you and appreciating them. So this is how you slowly can generate loving kindness and compassion for them. Yeah, not only just looking at the what do you call uh, suffering nature of others, but also you can feel the good nature, good things around you, even though it is temporary, but still it is good way to start. Even though this form, color, sound, smell, taste, texture, even though they are temporary, even though they are nature of suffering, nature of change, even though they are nature of emptiness, but still you can utilize these things in the proper way. You can appreciate these things in a proper way, not just having craving for them, not just always being a slave for them, but utilizing them. You become the owner of these things, like placing your mind, for example. If you have become the owner of your mind, then you are not distracted. Then you have the power to place where you want to place your mind. As Mingi Rinpoche says, we have to give job to our mind, that monkey mind. Otherwise, he will destroy everything. So this is very wonderful example. So this is how we can give a job to our mind. So meditation is the best job that we can give to our mind. And there are different types of meditation. So this is the second type of meditation, where we need to place our mind to loving kindness and compassion. Thereby, we will be able to decrease our anger and hatred. So the third one. So if you're someone who do not know much about things, who have no wisdom, who is always, under delusion or ignorance, then he said we should contemplate on dual links or interdependence origination. This is where we are now. Okay, so we have studied this dual link, and Khenpo very skillfully, in his presentations of dual link or interdependence origination, he divides this into 3 lifetimes. This is very easy for us. It makes very easy for us to understand this dual link and the cycle of samsara, the existence. I still want to use, I'm still using this existence for temporary, okay, from the relative perspective. Ultimately, it's not existence. It doesn't have any thing that, you can really see there's a really existent nature. But, to make things easier to understand, we still use this cycle of samsara as existence, even though it is not truly exists. But then it appears to be existence because of these dual links, because of this interdependence origination. You understand? Lots of things together. It makes them, what do you call? It makes things operate. Samsara operates because of these dual links. If there's no dual link, then samsara cannot operate. And our target is we want to get rid from this samsara. Then we don't want to operate, the samsara anymore. But when you are operating, when you're under this delusion, when you are the component of this dual link, then we know we should understand, what are the cause and condition for this. So Khenpo's presentation is quite, makes us very easy to understand this dual link. The past 2 previous life, because of ignorance, we have promoted karma, we have created karma in the past lifetime. 1 and 2, ignorance and mental formation. These are from the previous life. And then whatever you have created karma from previous life, it comes with your consciousness. Consciousness travels from one lifetime to other lifetime. Obviously, body is left behind, but the consciousness travels like guest and guest house. In some teachings, the example of body and consciousness is like uh, you go to some place, you stay there for a few days, and then you leave that place and you travel, keep traveling. You know, guest and guest house. Guest will never stay long time in guest house. He or she may stay 1 or 2 days. Likewise, we are utilizing this body, even it is actually the results of our previous karma, and we are not utilizing this all the time. We have to leave this body and travel into the next lifetime. So likewise, with previous karma, because of ignorant, we have created karma, mental formation, and that karma planted on our seat, the seat on our consciousness, and consciousness travels into this lifetime. Then it goes into mother's womb, and then there develops the formations of name and forms, you know, and then slowly the sense, faculty of sense will develop, 6 increasing fields: eye, organ, ear, nose, tongue. Likewise, after delivery, we have this contact, our origin, eye organ, its object, shape and color, and then eye consciousness. Likewise, other sensory faculties as well. So after that contact, then what happens is next is feeling. We will have some feeling. When I look from my eye to some beautiful thing, and eye consciousness develops, and I can see, oh, how nice, how lovely. You have the feeling of joy, and then after that feeling of joy, you like it more. It's craving. Oh, I want it. I want it. It's good. Like when you see things on internet, you have good thing, or especially nowadays we do online shopping. So when you see things, oh, I want it. There's already craving there, and grasping. Yes, then you cannot live without it. It's very strong. Then because of that, what happens? Then you express this from your body, physical, like body and speech. This is where the creations of karma, second creations of karma happens in this lifetime. Previously, we have created karma. Now this is the second time of creations of karma there. And this is the cause for future lifetime. And because of that, as existence, this is the starting of next cycle of karma, samsara. And then you travel to next, take birth, age, and death. Likewise, this all continues. This is why it is called links. Because of this, that happens. Because of that cause, we experience this result. So that was experienced earlier. So today, Khenpo wants to put this 12 link into 3 different categories. What you call 3 groups actually. Afflicting emotion groups, karma groups, creations of karma, and then the suffering group as a result of that creations of karma. So 3. So I'll read this out. These 12 links should be understood in 3 groups. So the first group is the afflicting emotion group, and within this group there are 3. What are those? Ignorance, craving, and grasping comprise the afflicting emotion group. So these 3, first, 8th, and 9th are belongs to this group, afflicting emotions, and you can contemplate on that. Ignorance, obviously, it is the afflicting emotion. Likewise, craving is another afflicting emotion, and grasping is also another, afflicting emotions. So these are the group of belongs to the components belongs to the afflicting emotions. So ignorance from the past lifetime, because it's exists cycle of karma. Craving and grasping from this lifetime because of feeling, right? And where did the feeling come from? Because of touch, isn't it? Where that touch came from? Touch is having, because you have this eye faculty, this object and consciousness. Therefore, you have this feeling. But where does this come from? This come from the previous link, isn't it? So therefore, that is why here ignorance, craving, and grasping are categorized under the what you call affliction emotions. These are the root cause. Okay, these are the root cause. Then because of this root cause, then there's the creations of karma. And the next group is karma group. So mental formation and existence are the karma. Mental formation from previous life, that is the second among the 12 links, and the existence, that is the 10th of the 12 links. So mental formation from past lifetime and this lifetime existence, meaning again same meaning, creations of karma here. So these are, even though it sounds a little different, but they're actually same. Mental formations from previous karma, you are creating karma, and here existence means after that grasping in thing or in object to the object, then you create karma there. So this is these two are categorized under the what you call karma group, and then the remaining seven, consciousness and so forth, all remaining seven are grouped as suffering. So these are the results of that karma, the creations of karma. So consciousness obviously is the result of creations of that karma. Name and form obviously. This skandha, what we now have, this form, feeling, perception, and so forth. These are the creations, are the results of our previous karma. And contact. How we can contact, because we have this skandhas, because we have this what you call faculty. Therefore, we are able to contact, and because of contact, there's a feeling, and because of that, in the 12 link, we studied that, and now we are now trying to focus is what are the results of this karma creation, and these are the 7 results. These are all results. It all has cause. Death cause because of aging, right? So these are again linked one after another. But in here, he want to group them into 3 groups to make us understand what are the root cause, what are the creations of karma, and what are the result of this karma. Okay. So the example of this, like ignorant is the one who plant the seed, the real cause. Karma is like the field where it is going to flourish now. And consciousness is like the seed. Likewise, consciousness is like the seed, craving is like the moisture, name and forms are like shoots, and others are like branches and leaves and so forth. So if you want to understand this from the what you call example of how you plant trees and how you plant flowers and how they flourish, how they develop. Likewise, it is similar to our formation of this samsara, how we formate this samsara. So if there were no ignorance, then mental formation could not appear. So dwelling again. Because there is ignorance, so we create karma. Because we don't know the true nature of phenomena. If you have known the true nature of phenomena, you'll never create karma, right? Because you know the reality. Because you know that there's no such thing, that you crave so much, that you grasp it so much. So there's none if you really understand. So understanding dharma really helps you to reduce your ignorance. And when you reduce your ignorance, the more you reduce your ignorance, the less creations of karma there will be. And then if there's less creations of karma, and then you will have less suffering as its result. So this is how you can try to liberate yourself from the experience of suffering of samsara. Likewise, without birth, aging, and death would not happen. That's quite simple to understand, right? If there's no birth, how you can expect aging and death? So it's just because you have born in this life, this samsara, you have taken, this life, this body, then obviously sooner or later it will fade, get ill, and one day you leave this body. So there's, what do you call? There's no other second option, right? You may have many different, what do you call? Supplements, but that doesn't make you, live forever. The maximum you can live is up to 110 years. That's it. Not more than that. So there's a measure. It's the measure that born we have sickness, age, and death are there. And but because there's ignorance, mental formations are fully created, one after another. and so forth. Because there is a mental formation, there's the consciousness. Because there's the consciousness traveling into mother's womb, and there's a formation, there's the development of names and forms, and what you call faculties. So this happens one after another, cause and effect, or cause and effect manner, or the cause and result manner, and so forth. When there's birth, aging, and death occurs, so it's quite easy to understand, right? So the next is, he says, is ignorant doesn't think. So if you want to know, right, because there are some people who believe that we are created by someone else, there's a creator, and that creator really thinks that, oh, I will create this, I will make this, but in our Buddhist belief, we don't believe that, right? We believe in our karma. Because of our karma, we experience the result. And where this our karma, how we create karma is because of not knowing the true nature of things. As simple as it is, that is the Buddhist belief. Ignorance, the root cause of the suffering of samsara. If you clear our ignorance, nirvana is there, right in front of you. No creations of karma, not falling in the chain of suffering of samsara. So here says, ignorance doesn't think. Even though we say, okay, ignorance is the root cause of samsara, but ignorance, it doesn't think that I will create mental formation. It happens naturally because there's a cause, there's a result naturally. There's no kind of any kind of intention there. And mental formation doesn't think I was created by ignorance, but it happens naturally because there's a cause, there's a result. Because if you plant rice seed, it doesn't have kind of sense that I will create rice spot. No, when you plant rice seed, after a few weeks, rice spots will come naturally with the proper causing condition. So therefore, there's no such kind of thinking that I'll formate this. Likewise, birth doesn't think I'll create aging and death, and the aging and death also do not think we were made by birth, but it happens naturally as a link, as a dual link, as a what you call dependent origination, dependent upon one another. But when there is ignorance, then the mental formation appears and manifests. Likewise, when there is birth, aging, and death appears and manifests. Thus, this is the inner interdependence with cause, the real cause. The next presentation is condition. Not only cause, but the condition. Condition also should be there. Cause and condition. We believe in cause and condition. Okay, that's why it's called karma, cause and condition. Inner interdependence supported by condition. Earth, water, fire, wind, space, and consciousness are called the six elements. So these are very, what do you call, something that we always hear, the six elements. We need these six elements in order to operate. Actually, you want to operate this body, the body that I have, and the speech that I'm now talking. Then you can hear my voice because of these six elements. This operation happens because of the support of six elements. Even though I have this body, which is the results of my previous karma, we can call this body, as the results of your previous karma, or the promotions of karma that we have now started into our links. Why we have to appear here? Because my consciousness traveled from my previous lifetime to my mother's womb, and there, they plant the seed, and then this body, starting from there, it started, from starting from embryo, it started to grow, and this is the result. But having this body alone is not enough to operate. So in order to operate, for example, simple example, can you hear my voice? So how can you hear this voice? Because of the support of these six elements, especially the air elements. If there's no air, My voice cannot reach to you. I cannot make voice actually, sound. Simple example as it is. So here says that the earth elements causes the solidity of the body. My body is solid. It's quite like it's not scattered. It's in one condition. It's because of earth element. The water element causes the body to cohere, or everything stick together. The fire element digests whatever I eat, drink. It digests and we then withdraw them. The wind element moves in and out. I breathe in, I breathe out. Otherwise, if there's no wind, I cannot breathe. And when I stop breathing, you know what? So you should be thankful to these elements as well, who are co-occur actually here in this condition, who are co-supporting our very existence. The space elements creates the space within our body. The flow of our blood circulations, our body, blood, all this happens because of these, elements. And the consciousness element creates the five consciousness and the afflicted mental consciousness. When I see, I will generate eye consciousness, and it reports to my mental consciousness, and I say, oh, that's good, that's bad. How can you judge good or bad? It's your mental, the sixth consciousness. Mental consciousness judge things. Oh, when you see from your eye the object, beautiful or ugly, then eye consciousness will take that as a picture and reports to my sixth consciousness, which is the big boss there. Then big boss decides, oh, a good one, a ugly, a good, a bad. Then there's this kind of feeling. Oh, good, yes, I want it, craving. Oh, I cannot stand without it. I cannot live without it, grasping. Then, in order to make that happen, you create so many other karmas. Then, when someone tries to, interrupt you from getting that beautiful thing, then you get angry. Then you keep that in your mind, hatred. Then you try to take revenge. Or if you see something bad, something nice, but you don't have it, there's a jealousy. Someone other have it, you don't, there's a jealousy. Or if someone doesn't have anything and you have a lot, then pride. I'm the most important person in the world. I should be the first one. All this negative afflictions, emotions, all these six departments actually, the five other departments, comes because of the attachment, because of that feeling, feeling of joy and having that craving. Sorry, not only feeling, the craving, I should say craving, because of that craving. Craving is attachment. And when that craving gets more stronger, it's called grasping. You can't live without it. To attach, desire and attachment. So these are actually the main cause, and because of that attachment, then as I mentioned earlier, if someone, you will do anything in order to, obtain that good thing, obtain that good sound, obtain that money, wealth, company, or pose, whatever. You will do anything. You will lie. You go more, beyond that. You may kill others, in order to get that, in order to grab that opportunity. You may cheat others. Obviously, when you do business, obviously we cheat each other. This is how you earn. Unfortunately, from the samsaric lifestyle. So, creations of karma all begins there. And when you have, more things with you and attached to us, too much to that thing, belongings, stinginess develops. You don't want to share to others. That's the problem. You don't want to share to others, and if someone says something bad about it, you get angry, you depend, you take revenge. So this is how we start getting all the troubles of samsara. How the trouble of samsara, starts from, because of this craving. And why we are craving? The question is why we are having this attachment, why we are grasping. It's because we don't know the true nature of that phenomenon. Because we're ignorant. because we're misunderstanding the object as something very important, as which is not important actually, something very permanent, which actually is not permanent at all, is impermanence, something which is truly, pleasurable thing, actually not. It is the nature of suffering, you know. So this is all misunderstanding of the fact. This is because of ignorance. So see how ignorance, relates to development of your craving, and how craving and attachment develops your anger and envy and jealousy and stinginess and so forth. And this is how you create karma. Then because of that, you act physically, verbally, mentally. This is the creations of karma from body, speech, and mind. Unfortunately, then this is how you start uh, planting the seed for the next uh, life. And then it follows again and again in the same manner. We have been following this from uh, beginningless time, according to Buddha, and then we are still following it. Now, fortunately, we have this words of wisdom that is telling you, oh, don't get fooled of these appearances, these beautiful sound, color and shape, beautiful sound, smell, taste, and texture. Don't get fooled because of these appearances. They are temporarily, they are impermanence, they are suffering of change, they are emptiness. So this is how the wisdom, without trying to convey this message, the words of wisdom, as I mentioned, as I always use this, words of wisdom, because we're ignorant, we need wisdom. So these are all words of wisdom from Buddha, starting from Buddha and followed by his teacher, disciples, and Gampopa here, up to Gampopa. And now we are trying to understand this. The sooner we understand this fact, the better it will be. Otherwise, we'll keep continuing falling the samsara again and again, experiencing different types of suffering again and again, and we cannot cut this chain of suffering of samsara, unfortunately. That's why in the previous session I said, if you have Dharma, if you understand the Dharma teaching, have the Dharma teaching knowledge, then when this dual link happens, you can be careful. Like, you cannot do anything of this body because it's already there. It already developed in your mother's womb, and you delivered out, you came out, you experienced. That's still there. You don't have much choice there. Even whatever appearances you have, you have no much choice. Obviously, there are some nowadays artificial things that you can do and to make up and fix something, but not more than that. So you have to have this body. Then next is contact. Remember from the 12 link, eye, object, contact. Oh, beautiful thing. Ear, sound, contact. Oh, lovely sound. Nose, smell, contact. Wow, what a pleasant audio. Tongue, taste, contact. What a nice food, What a what do you call it? Yummy food. What a yummy cake. Body, texture, contact. What a smooth it is feeling. Then craving. Okay. After feeling is okay. You can still feel. Buddha can feel the softness and hardness, no problem. Bodhisattva can feel that. Feeling is okay. But then craving. From there, if you have Dharma, you will say, oh, you don't need to crave. You don't need to have attachment. This is temporarily. Impermanence nature, emptiness nature, suffering of change. So you don't pay so much attention there. Therefore, there's no craving. And if there's no craving, then there's no much stronger, model of craving that is known as grasping. It's not there. And when there's no craving and grasping, then there's no creations of karma. Then since you don't pay so much attention to this, you will not create karma. You will not create jealousy. You will not create anger. You will not create, what do you call physical non-virtuous act of killing, stealing, and speech using like lying, telling lying, cheating, and others, so on and so forth. So if you have Dharma, you are protected from there. You're protected from there. You are protected from falling into the another suffering of samsara. So this is how you can minimize one after. So you can cut this change of samsara to a link actually. And the most easiest way to get out of this twirling is to trying to understand, trying to develop wisdom, trying to clear out this ignorance. And for this we need meditation. Okay, so we are doing use another here. So when you know this, then it is good for you. You will minimize your ignorance. So you have idea now. And these six elements are also supportive here in this body formation, they having operating this body. The consciousness element creates the five consciousness and the afflictive mental consciousness. Without these conditions, the body cannot be born through the combinations of these six elements. Body fully functions. But again, these six elements do not think I established this, solidity or cohering things or moving, what do you call, the digesting things and all, but it naturally happens. Okay, then next, again, what I mentioned earlier. Furthermore, how many lifetimes does it take to complete these 12 elements of interdependence? 3 lifetimes. And to the reference of that is the 10 Noble Bhumi Sutra says, ignorance and mental formations are related to the past life. Consciousness through feeling occurs in the present, craving and so forth. So the craving is another one for the cause for the future lifetime, right? Craving and so forth through existence are related to the future. Then the cycle continues. If you do not know how to stop, take a break, and look at the nature of the phenomenon, the true nature of phenomenon, then otherwise you'll be fooled by this and you'll continue to suffer. Okay, this is the samsara, how one creates the suffering of samsara. The next is how you can release this samsara, or how, in other words, how you can break this chain of suffering of samsara. Then here, the interdependence of nirvana is in the reverse order. When one realizes all phenomena as the nature of pervading emptiness, then ignorance ceases itself. You don't have to do much. You do know the true nature of phenomena as emptiness nature, then ignorance ceases itself. When that ceases, when ignorance ceases, the root cause of suffering of samsara, then everything respectively ceases until aging and death. Then you don't need to come back to the samsara. If only you want to come back to benefit sentient beings like Bodhisattva do, that's different thing. That's we have that type of coming back to samsara is not overpowered by ignorance. That's you have the choice of yourself, but you still need to take the support of this, six elements and this khandha. But then the cause is different. Here you are not overpowered by ignorance. So there are lots of details and debate in great sutras. When ignorance ceases, then mental formation ceases, and then so forth. When birth ceases, then aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, suffering, mental unhappiness, distress, all cease. Thus, the vast aggregate of suffering ceases. So with this wonderful note here, we all want to cease this suffering of samsara, don't we? And get enlightenment. So with this good note here, I would like to keep this teaching here for today, and we'll continue in our next session. So thank you very much for participating, making time for yourself to engage in Dharma. I do believe that you are continuing, to study this, to make a note of these teachings and try to focus and contemplate. Most importantly, just hearing once is not enough. Whenever you have time, just contemplate its meaning. You know, sometimes we make many notes, which is actually good for developing your wisdom. But then what happens sometimes we have too many notes. So we keep all the knowledge into the notes and not internally. And this is sometimes obstacle. So less note, but key notes, and then focusing internally and sitting there without having so much things around and rest, contemplate the meaning of the teaching, remembering those keynotes and try to contemplate its meaning and rest and in samadhi, in meditation, as meditative concentration. This will be much beneficial for your practice. Okay, so we shall dedicate the merits of this teaching for the benefit of all sentient beings. Sonam deye tamje zeba nye tomne nye be danam pamje ne gega nache bala choba ye sebe zole drogo nyu drosho chanjo semjo rimbo che make panam kegyo je keba nyamba meba gone gondo be ware sho semje neba jinge ba nyuto nele takyo je droge ne ne male ba taldo jongwa me ba sho